Hello and welcome to an Albion Raw post-match with myself, AD Packham, and I'm delighted to be joined by Brian Ohm and Vicky Rees. Brian, you're coming directly out of the Crystal Bowl, as we used to call it.
Right, it's a quick exit these days.
Yeah, but is that for you? Is that 2 points dropped or a point gained?
Probably in the end about neither drop nor gain really. It's about sort of par in a way because it was a great chance to go 1-0 up, of course. But how many times I think it's 3 times Kasper Schmeichel saved penalties from Brighton players ever since that he was part of that Man City shootout, which ended disastrously for them. And in the second half, I could sort of sense maybe you wouldn't if you were more. I could sort of sense Leicester pushing on and possibly getting a breakthrough, but nothing. They didn't really create all that much in terms of clear chances. But you could see the attacking threats being sent on, and you just wondered if Vardy something was going to break for him. But they did it. They saw it out fairly comfortably in the end. I think probably a pretty fair result.
Yeah, Vicky, same question to you.
Yeah, I think so. In the context of everything, you know what, you'd probably have quite happily taken 4 points at the start of this week. You know, none of us knew how it was going to go, did we? After all that time off, you know, the Albion have taken a bit of stick from other parties all over the place, and there's quite a lot of people. It felt like quite a lot of people were willing us to fail. So none of us knew how it was going to go. But actually, the players seem to have come into this with a really good attitude. They looked fit, all right. They were looking a little bit knackered by the end tonight, but you know, they were doing a lot of chasing. A lot of closing down, pressing in the first half. So that's always going to happen, isn't it? After that length of time off. But no, I thought, yeah, you've got to take it as a point gained, haven't you? Look at the other results so far this week. Yeah, it's another point on the board, isn't it? And any point we get is hopefully points other teams aren't getting.
Okay, Brian.
Where's the bird chirping? Because it's not in Leicester. Here, right, racket going on. But in the game-wise, I mean, I thought they started so well, and that would have been deserved to have gone ahead with the penalty. And then you start to wonder, you know, the penalty isn't scored, and then they get an injury, and then they get another injury, and it looked very much like Lamptey, who I'm sure you'll want to talk about, was going to go off this evening was over.
Yeah. And that was exactly the question I was going to ask you, Brian. 2 debutants tonight, with Lamptey making his first appearance for the Albion, and Alexis McAllister with his first start. What were your thoughts of them watching on?
Well, McAllister ran the show for like 2 minutes, and then he went very quiet. He did it quite hard, didn't he? To start with, he forced the free kick, or he forced them to lose possession. He took the free kick, he got the loose ball, and he crossed it, a really nice cross. And then from the corner, he went on a little run, and you thought, he's going to take centre stage. But it was Lamptey who got really impressed, and especially as he needed stitches in his mouth apparently, and it was Potter said it was touch and go as to whether he would continue. It looked, I mean, Montoya was getting ready. I just thought he was going. That was it. That was the end for him, and he did so well. And I'm sure you appreciated that time when Vardy in Vardy territory was bearing down one-on-one on the last man, and he read it, didn't he? And he had the anticipation and also the pace to take the ball away from him. So he was, I think, magnificent was the word that I've just uploaded on the website.
Yeah.
Vicky, more than McAllister.
Vicky, it's great to have a fullback with that much pace for a start, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something we've been renowned for, is it, in the last couple of years? I mean, Scalotto's not slow, but then he's not all that in terms of defending either, is he? Montoya, again, is steady Eddie, but certainly hasn't got pace. Bruno, bless him, over the years, probably didn't have much. So what was amazing is someone can be that quick with such little legs. But no, I mean, there was more than one, wasn't there? There was the attacking stuff. There was an absolutely flare flick past somebody. Mind you, even Dale Stevens did a back flick at some point to beat a player, which was a bit of a shock. But no, it was all of that, wasn't it? It was the attacking, but he certainly looked very competent. And he even won a header early on, which was, I think it was against Ndidi, which I think that was his only header. But you know what a start, you know, and really. It's only one game, isn't it? But you look at that and you think, yeah, that's something that bodes well for the future.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we're signing Brian.
I was going to say, do you think that was a surprising game? I don't know what you thought when you saw the team use. You think it'd be thrown in at some point? Was that a surprising one for him to be thrown into? I don't know. It's a tough away game like that.
I felt like it was a pace thing, though, wasn't it? Because Leicester hit you hard. I mean, we saw that. We've seen it in games earlier on in the season, haven't we? Well, when we played them before, that they can break like that. They're really, really quick. Even Vardy. Well, obviously Vardy got outpaced tonight by Lamptey, but I guess that's what it is, isn't it? That Leicester hit teams, although when they're on top form, they're capable of doing that. So I suppose, the notion of having maybe Montoya at fullback against that sort of exposure was that's the thinking of it. But
No, Brian, we know that up there at Leicester that it's a particular raucous crowd. It can be quite lively in that stadium at times. Do you think that the lack of supporters in the stadium affected Leicester tonight?
Probably helped. Yeah, I'm sure it helped Brighton because Leicester did get some momentum going late on. I would imagine it must do. But then Brighton didn't have that crowd, lifting them against Arsenal. They managed to fight through that. Potter spoke about it afterwards. So it's just something you've got to get used to, I suppose. But you would have thought it would have been a more difficult game.
I think maybe it helped us when Stevens did that tackle on somebody in the first half. Yeah. And I just wonder because when they showed the replay, you went in studs up, and you just wonder with a big crowd making a noise, does that sway the referee to think about it a bit more? Does it get referred upstairs? I don't know. It was a bit classic Dale Stevens, wasn't it? And I think when you saw it afterwards, you thought, so maybe that's one of the big things that's happening this season now with the restart, that some of these decisions that would have been hugely contentious and talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks are maybe just kind of going under the radar a little bit at the moment because there's not that atmosphere caused by the crowd and the outrage and everything.
Brian? Brian's just frozen there for a minute. Brian,
on TV. Are we still there? I think I'm back.
Yeah. Vicky was just saying about the possible red card that Dale Stevens could have had if there was a crowd in the stadium. Would he have got that second yellow?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Possibly. That first one looked worse on the replay than I thought it looked at the time. But that's how it is, isn't it? I wondered if it would have been a red card. We were talking about that before we come on, whether it would have been a red card for the penalty incident, whether that was a little bit contentious, and he should have been Justin should have been sent off.
Yeah, obviously until the penalty decision went to VAR, I had completely forgotten about VAR actually, and I was expecting. Brian, yourself and I were both in the stadium on Saturday, and there was the VAR thing came up there, but I didn't really give it a second thought, really.
No.
But it was like I for a minute there, and they started showing various different angles of it, and I'm thinking, actually, it begins to cast doubt in your mind because they're watching it at various different speeds, which isn't the speed that it happened actually at the time.
Got the one tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the longer it goes on, because it was quite a long wait, and in the stadium, you had this sort of heart-beating noise to try and make some tension coming over. I don't think you can hear on TV coming over the loudspeaker.
I think I did hear that. Yeah,
like the end of a quiz show, and they're going for $1 million or something. It was a long old wait, and Mope was standing there for a long time with the ball. I don't know if that affects. They say sometimes you have to wait a long time to take a penalty. It can affect you, but. I don't know if it had any effect. It wasn't a particularly good penalty. Obviously, only the second one this season as well.
Yeah, but that was the question I was going to ask. We got the penalty. It was a penalty, but it was a terrible penalty.
Yeah, just didn't get hold of it, did he? Well, we've got McAllister. I think can take them. I think Moyes scored a penalty
for next time. Yeah, McAllister.
Yeah. I was looking up the record just to check my memory because I remember a couple of saves from Schmeichel against Brighton. I was looking, found the website, and I think Moyes took one against him and looked like he probably scored. But anyway, there you are. It's,
yeah. Well, Glenn missed one as well, didn't he? So it was.
Yeah, National Barnes up here. Barnes at the keeper had one save. So that's 3.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's as Vicky said at the top of this, that's 4 points out of the possible 6. Yeah. Going into the run of games we've got at home with Man United coming on next Tuesday. Again, I think the stats. I don't think Man United. I can't remember the last time Man United actually beat us at home, and it goes back a long time.
Can't remember. I certainly can't remember. If it's 3 defeats in a row, isn't it? There was the last one. in the old Division 1. Peter Wood scored from. Somebody will correct me if I've got that wrong. And then obviously 2 wins down here since then. So I don't know.
We're in danger of expecting too much now. We're in danger of getting to the point where we expect to beat United at home.
Who knows?
I'm expecting us to win 9-0. I don't know what you're talking about, but you know, I think that you know, we've got a chance. I mean, I think that. I mean, we've said this time and time again this season, both with both of you in the actual studio. Do you remember that going into the studio, guys? We've left too many points out on the pitch this season.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, we don't know how the momentum would have swung if we just scored that. Would they have come back quickly and tried to go and got the equaliser? Would it have changed the game? But I mean, again, it's another 2 points we've left out on the pitch potentially.
Yeah, mate.
I don't feel. I'm not sure we're quite the team yet that can sort of stand there and say that we're certainly not we should be beating teams like Leicester, clearly. But I think, and I hope we never get to be that point. But I mean, you know what? I suppose had the halves been reversed and we were that dominant in the second half, you probably would be looking like that. But I think it's just the way that the match has fallen. I mean, Leicester had a huge amount of possession second half. That said, I can't actually remember Ryan making a save in the game. I don't know what in fact, I've just seen.
He did have to save for himself at one point.
Save from himself, yeah.
I've just seen on Twitter, someone has posted on Twitter, and I don't know if this is actually factual or not, but Jamie Vardy had fewer touches than Matt Ryan tonight, which is actually a really good reflection on our defence, isn't it, to be fair? You know, they've pocketed him there. I mean, Ryan, again, did probably at least 2 of those touches where he's throwing the ball to himself. But yeah, I can't remember him making a save. And how often does that happen? That suggests that Leicester certainly weren't having shots on target, and they were just restricted to kind of long range stuff. Which, you know what, that's credit to the defence and the midfielders, isn't it? And so yeah. It's always going to go. It's always going to swing a bit. You're never going to go someone like that and expect to dominate the whole game, are you? So
no. I mean, before the enforced break, I mean, I think we would have probably expected to go to Leicester and lose possibly quite heavily. So, I mean, the fact that we've come away with the point, I think it's any point that we can get is a point gained at the moment, and so it's 4 points out of a possible 6. It puts pressure on the teams below us. Obviously, we've got a tough run of games coming. You know, I mean, I remember saying at the time, "Oh, good news, guys! We've got 3 games at home in April." But they're against Man United, Man City, and Liverpool. But it's these are games that apart from the Man United away game and the Man City away game, we've been in pretty much every game this season.
I mean, it's feasible that by the time we play Liverpool, they've won the title. All right, they're not going to be going out on the lash because they can't, because the pubs aren't open, but they're not going to be having that parade. But it's not beyond the realms that Klopp decides to pick some of the lesser lights in the squad, some of the younger players, to give them a run out, because he's banged on enough this season about how knackered they all are. And I'm sure once they've played 3 more games, he'll be considering that they're all exhausted again. So, it's not beyond that. I'm not suggesting that we would be favourites to beat Liverpool at any point. But no. You know what? If he was to pick somebody, if they've won the title, it's all done and dusted. They're waiting for their celebrations, and he starts to pick, the Adam Lallanas of this world rather than some of the better players. That's possible, isn't it? City, again, I don't know. Again, you would never ever expect to beat them. Clearly not. But I guess. You know what? Even Watford beat Liverpool at one stage, didn't they? So let's be optimistic. Let's be positive. Other than that, we really have to look at Newcastle and Norwich, don't we? And Burnley.
And I think that's a really good place to leave it. So thank you to Brian Owen. Thank you to Vicky Rees. Thank you for your positivity. Another point to the total. We move on. We'll be back with our regular show on Radio Reverb 97.2 FM on Saturday. Look out for that. And we'll be... probably bringing you a preview prior towards the Man United game. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.